Regular. That was really fun!
We realized it would be like this.
You gotta land on your feet now.
Just so that you can wake up and walk here.
The last event to qualify for the Olympic team.
Olympic qualifier.
Any 4 of these 5 guys will represent Canada amazing at the Olympics. Go have fun.
Interviewing Dan Raymond, the man, the mystery, the enigma. My name's Dan Raymond, and I grew up in Gatineau, Quebec. I learned to ski at Camp Fortune when I was 14, and a few years later I was teaching full-time, and they ran out of snowboard instructors. That's where I got my big break. I was forced to go out there and teach other people who'd never snowboarded before how to do it. And then I went out there one day when it was snowing and just fell in love with that feeling of floating that you just couldn't get on skis. So I knew I was hooked, and from that point on, I skied less and less and snowboarded more and more. All the way through the park, I'm leaving it up to you guys to explore it.
And so I really wanted to snowboard, and I found a ski store that sold some snowboards. And I did all sorts of research, and I remember my boots and my board, and bringing them home and being so stoked. I think I strapped in and jumped out on that board for about 3 weeks before I ever got onto the snow. And I started getting this culture coming in, and I was so stoked. I was so taken by the stories they told of the mountains and the stories they told of the freedom of being out there in the world. And so I moved to Silver Star, which is where I learned about the half pipe. So I was 19 before I rode my first half pipe. My outlook on snowboarding became one of really getting better and figuring out the process and getting good. So I would hike and hike and hike the half pipe and hike some more and fell and landed and got all stoked and going to the bar all proud of my alley 360.
I went to the US Open with Crispin sort of as a fun vacation to go do a contest. Caught the eye of my boss, the senior national team coach, who hadn't ever seen me ride before.
So I was at the US Open and charging, and I got approached by Tom Hutchison, the national team coach. And besides, we want riders with a 4-year plan. We want to take them to the Olympics, and we want to win medals. And I think you can do this. I've watched you out there. You've got what it takes to learn. And
He then proceeded to invite me to a selection camp for the development team.
And so that sounded like a pretty good idea and worth trying.
I take a few days off work so I can actually rest before this camp starts. And I go mountain biking to clear my head and do something else while I'm riding in the bike park, and I broke my leg. And that was devastating because it meant that I might not get another chance at this.
Off to the first World Cup. I remember waking up the morning of the first World Cup. It was the first time I had a chance to prove it, or it was the first contest after getting on the development team, and this was my chance to start. This is the first step in many to come. It's no longer just a dream or a concept. We were really doing it. It was happening, and I was attaining these goals, and I'd never set goals before, so the whole thing seemed fun. And when we got to France, I got a third, and I had done it. I got a podium. And not only did I make it into the finals, but I got onto the podium. I got a medal, and I finished my rookie year number 8 in the world. So when I came home to Whistler, I was just so relieved and so so happy to be home. That contest, and I did really well, I guess. I just had so much fun. It was so nice to be home, and it was a home contest, and the pipe was really, really good. And I felt like I was on top of the world. You know, I was riding better than I'd ever been in my life. And I had learned so much in those 4 months. After I just got a third, and I was so stoked. And then we got into the one-hit contest, and I did a 1080, and at the time it was quite rare, and for me it was a huge step in my riding, and I just sort of felt the moment and felt the trust in the wall and the situation and myself, I guess.
I had fun today. I learned 12. I almost hit a 1260, man, but I was stomping them all, right? Five in a row.
Third place, men's Rip Zone Super Pipe with an 18.0. Man, this guy was impressive. Give it up for third place, Crispin. Let's go! Here he comes. Crispin, congratulations. How was your day?
So good today, man. I want to skidoo.
He's ruining the end of our show for us. Oh, hey, you didn't hear that. All right. Crispin Lipscomb, third place.